Then we're live. I just don't. Oh, there we go. I see it now. So regardless, we're live. Welcome to Update Hangouts. Today's the 27th of January, 2021. And we've got some good stuff for you guys today. As usual, we got a few quick announcements, and then we're going to jump into answering your questions. But real quick, just want to say hi. Looks like we got most of the guys here today. Let's see. I'm going to start with Hernan today. How you doing, man?
What's up, dude? I'm good. I'm just melting down here. It's really hot and humid, but it's okay, man. We're supposed to have rain tomorrow, so gonna cool off. Happy to be here.
Nice. What's temperature there in Celsius?
In Celsius, it's like 36, I think. So 36 C.
That's pretty warm. Yeah.
To F. Yeah, that's 96 Fahrenheit, 97.
All right, that's getting up. Yeah, that's on like Max Atom temperature scale. So I know you're a hot
Max
weather
Atom.
guy, but yeah, some rain on top of that. That sounds nice and humid. So you enjoy that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Marco, how you doing today?
I mean, what can I say? Groundhog Day. If you guys understand how it is that you can take $1 and change it into $1 million, give me a one. Give me a hell yeah. Let me see. Fuck, I hate those cheesy marketers, man. Look, hard work. You gotta work. You gotta do the do. You gotta pay your dues. It's very people who hit on that one idea with absolutely nothing but sweat equity, turn it into that $1 billion idea. Rest of us, to get to anyway, whatever our profile is, gotta work. I don't just sit here and do nothing. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a great place to work. I step outside. It's sunny. It's warm. It's beautiful. Got the sun. Got the wind in my hair. But man, come on, man. Very few things require no work. Like most people tell you, this shit is hard work, and it's not easy. But it's not complicated. It can be simplified, which is what we've done for you. All right. So, if you want to know how, and you want to know why, we're in the middle of our charity webinars. Bradley killed it on Monday with his ads for branding and entity. I'm going to call it what it is: entity manipulation. It was fantastic. A lot of great ideas. A lot of information that literally, I'm telling you, on Monday would have cost thousands of dollars anywhere else. You got it for free. On next Monday, Dixon Jones, internet legend Dixon Jones is coming to show you how to do entities and content. And so this is going to be a recurring theme, entities, branding and entities. I wonder why. I wonder what's working in SEO, what has been working, what's working, and what will be working. Anyway, I don't want to take too much time. Thank you to those of you who donated. If you haven't, then I posted how to on the page. Right, the information is there. Again, I don't want to take too much time. And even if you did and you did not register, you won't be able to access that page now because that page is gone. We moved it. You can still contact the email that I've set on there, and you will get access. If you've given the donation, you will get access to the replay. And if you haven't, donate, send proof of the donation to the email, and get access, guys. The information. I'm telling you, you would end up paying, I know Bradley one time paid nearly $20K, and the information was nowhere near as good as the shit that we give away for the price of a donation. I can guarantee it. I mean, he already told us what the information that he got, not that it was useless, but the information that we're giving away for a charitable donation. I mean, there's no comparison anywhere, guaranteed.
Outstanding. Marco, something you said at the beginning, I'm just going to ask you, and for those of you watching, I didn't ask Marco this earlier or anything, but something you said kind of tickled something in my head. And I was wondering, have you read the book, The Art of Contrary Thinking?
Of course.
Okay. I had never heard of it until a couple of weeks ago, and I just picked it up and started going through it. And anyways, I was like, you know what? I bet this is a book Marco would recommend. This is a total tangent, but would you recommend people to read it? Because I'm like 10 pages in, and I'm like, I can tell this is going to be a big one.
I mean, I recommend that you read, period, right?
Yeah.
Read it. And not just that. It's not just reading that one book, but there's others. But well, when everybody thinks, here we go. Let me see if I got the quote right. When everybody thinks the same, when everybody thinks alike, everybody is likely to be wrong. Think about that. Think about that. All right, so the art of contrary thinking, Humphrey.
Was it Neil? Yeah, Neil
Humphrey.
Neil.
Yeah, guys, read the book. Read the book. Go read The Art of War. Mandatory. And then read the commentaries on The Art of War. Don't just read it. Try to figure it out all yourself. It's like trying to read the Bible without the commentaries, right? Without going into the original text. But yeah, definitely, if you can, like a book a week, by all means. For those who can't, who just, listen to it. Listen to books. All the audio books are everywhere. But yeah, absolutely recommend it.
Awesome. All right,
and that just
library. Tickled something else too. I just put the link down for anyone interested. We could update this year. We've got a recommended reading list, which I don't think the Art of Contrary Thinking is on. Might add that on, but I just put it at semanticmastery.com/book. So go check that out if you're watching and interested in some of these we're mentioning. So, okay, sorry, a little bit of a tangent there, but last but not least, Bradley, how you doing today?
Doing great. Busy as all hell as usual, but doing well. Glad to be here.
Sounds good. All right. Well, I got a little thing to get through here. I wanted to let people know because we do have new people watching every week, people coming in on YouTube or catching the replay. So first of all, thank you for watching. You're in the right place.
Hold on a minute. We forgot Chris, didn't we?
Is Chris here?
Chris is here.
Oh, man, I'm sorry.
Well, I can go again as well if you don't like me here today.
Chris snuck in the back door when Adam wasn't looking.
That's good. I feel bad because we got the little strip up at top in Zoom. So Chris, how you doing, man? My bad.
Yeah, doing good here. I don't know. Like, I was wondering because
now I wish we would have skipped you. This is the most bummer intro ever. Sorry, what were you saying?
I don't know. I'm shorting the markets, especially on the SEO niche. Not seeing anything else.
All right. Well, stay away from GameStop. So
that's already done.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get into it. So like I was saying, if you're here and you're watching live, let us know how you're doing. Even if you don't have a comment, just say hello, let us know where you're at or how you're doing. And if you're new to Semantic Mastery, you're new to MGYB, you're new to Heavy Hitters Club, the best place for you to start is find out how to shield your sites. Don't have to worry about algorithm updates again, and it's free training that's available at theseoshield.com. That's the word, theseoshield.com. And you'll hear us talking about all of the stuff that's involved in that. So if you're not familiar with words like SEO Shield, that's a great place for you to get started. From there, definitely recommend picking up the battle plan. All right, that's step-by-step processes so you can get SEO results, and it's how we do things and the tools we use and the services we use. And you can get that at battleplan.semanticmastery.com. The next one after that, we also get questions about, right, as consultants like myself, agency owners like Bradley, people who are, wanting to get more clients, they want to grow the revenue, they want to scale the team, they're still, still in growth mode. Hard to get that one out of the mouth. And, before they're big enough, they're thinking, how can I do this? How do I do these three really important things? So Bradley and Hernan, a little bit, they're put together this training last year that is just amazing. It's called 2X Your Agency, number 2xyouragency.com. Just head over there and you can find out more. And for those of you who are serious about growing your digital marketing business or the digital marketing side of your business, and you want to be part of the experienced community, then the mastermind is definitely for you. And that you can find out more at mastermind.semanticmastery.com. And now I mentioned MGYB. If you're not familiar with it, it's mgyb.co. All right, that's done for you services, things like the SEO Shield that I mentioned, syndication networks, link building, press releases, and a ton more. I believe we've got an update coming soon, right, Marco? We've got a kind of an overhaul on the system coming down the pipeline, right?
We have a complete overhaul on the system, but I mean, Bradley's in there, so he can tell people. I mean, we're doing several things, right? So it's not just that Syndication Academy, right? That's coming, guys. That'd be an overhaul, and then of course we're gonna have updates, and there's gonna be a new person. We just wanted to give Bradley more time, honestly, than what he could dedicate to it. It needs more time. so that it can work the way that it should. Bradley couldn't dedicate the time to it, so we just brought someone in. She learned the way. She was here. I mean, you guys met her. You guys met Essie. She's the one that's redoing Syndication Academy. She was doing the updates. She's going to be going into a whole bunch of new profiles and websites that we can use to manipulate the entity. Remember, entity-based, worryless SEO. That's what this is about. The charity webinars are about that. How we're winning today is we're manipulating the entity and showing Google what we want. And we're getting Google to do what we want Google to do. That's how we do the do. Imagine that.
Outstanding. Well, like Marco was saying earlier, if you haven't yet, you can still get access to the charity webinars. Highly recommend you do that. That is on the page. If for some reason you're watching this, you can't find the link, you're not sure what's going on, but you know that you want to get in on that, you can just send an email to support@semanticmastery.com. We'll get you sorted out and get you taken care of. So with that said, guys, anything else before we dive into it? All right.
We're good.
Let's do it.
All right. Let me grab the screen. There it is. All right. So it looks like the first one is from Minrob. Hey guys, I have received my order from MGYB, but I don't know how it works. Well, which order is he? Which order is he talking about? I'm assuming SEO Shield, but I don't know.
Rob, if you're here, Mini Rob. I'm just gonna call him Mini Rob. Sorry, man. This may be your actual name, but it makes me think of like a little tiny version of Rob. So,
yeah.
If that's the case, we need to know more information, right? We can't tell you what's going on. We don't know if you ordered a press release or a link building order or keyword research. So we're kind of stuck here. So if you let us know, we could probably help you. And then I would also say you probably want to talk to us first and come to Hump Day Hangouts. And if you're like, maybe I should use this SEO Shield thing or the press release thing, if you ask that first, we could definitely explain it. But since you've got it now, let us know exactly what you're doing, and then that's how we can help you, right, guys?
That's good. Okay. All right. So yeah, we can try to answer it if you. Unbelievable. Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at an email that just came in. What's the next question is? What's the best way?
Before you go to the next question, theseoshield.com. If you got an SEO Shield, right? theseoshield.com is a place to go for the training. It's free. And at the end of that, we even throw in a coupon for you to order whatever it is that you need.
Beautiful. Okay, so the next one is, what's the best way to push link juice through entire Amazon S3 folders to power up all PDFs within? Also, is it possible, like Google Drive, to embed folders to show all files inside the bucket? Thank you. The best way to power up an S3 folder, I'm not sure if you can power up a full folder. I've never tried that. Usually I just extract the URLs from within the folder and then just hit those with backlinks if they're URLs that I want to do that to. Marco, do you know, can you make a folder itself public? Like, I don't know if the folder has its own URL or what.
All right, guys, I have no idea if the S3 folder itself, we know that the HTML documents that we place in there, images or whatever it is that we place in there can be made public. But I'll tell you what, give me about, I'm going to say 3 months, because we're about to do some nasty stuff in S3. I was just talking about it with my team, or I shouldn't call it my team, partners, the SEO crew that I'm with, where we're going to go and just really look into S3 and how much power there actually is in there. And so if you come back, I mean, if not, just go in and do it yourself and see if it can go public. And then the best way to push power to that, Dedia, enough said, an embed gig or a link building gig or both from Dedia to that will push all the power you need. I'm not sure about the folder, but I can guarantee you that in about 3 months, I'll have all the answers you want about S3.
Sweet. Next question. Is there a way to get more branded GMBs in different locations to boost the footprint of a real service business that doesn't have a fixed address and works remotely? Yeah, I mean, if you can, I mean, there's a couple ways. You can buy GMBs from places that will sell you verified GMBs. We used to at MGYB, but I don't think that's available anymore. There are still some places that will do it. I even found somewhere that I placed an order, but it was way back in November and it still hasn't been delivered. So, you know, I think it's getting harder to do it, but I know there are still some vendors out there that will sell verified GMBs. I'm just not going to recommend any of them because, again, the one that I just attempted to use in November, I still haven't had one delivered yet. So I don't recommend any of, I don't have any to recommend is what I'm saying, but there are GMB verified, you know, you can purchase verified GMBs. There's vendors out there that do sell them. The other way is the way that before people started selling them, I used to always just use PO boxes. You can go to post offices. One thing you want to do is you don't want to get two GMBs too close to each other, right? So if you're going to do a service area business, which I understand doing that, it makes total sense. I would have them at least 15 or 20 miles apart. Depending on what your service area is, it could be even bigger, larger, you know, further distance between locations. But what you can do is find a post office, and then you fill out a form. It's free, but it's to use the street address option. So in other words, like if you go, you can do all this online too, by the way. You can register a PO box online, and they won't issue you the box number until you go to the post office. Like you have to physically go to the post office and show your IDs and sign the paperwork at the post office, but you can reserve it online and pay for it and everything else. But you do have to physically go to the post office to sign the paperwork, and then they'll assign you the box number at that point. So let's just say it's box 101. If the post office is at 123 Main Street, whatever town, right? Then you can fill out an additional form. It's free to do. It doesn't cost anything else. But you fill out an additional form to use the street address option. And then you would end up using the address for the GMB listing, 123 Main Street, number sign, like the pound sign 101, right? And that will work. You can't add a PO box to GMB as the physical address, but you can do a street address with basically a box number, a suite number, but it's just the pound sign. And the post office is very particular about you only using the number sign, the pound sign before the box number, not suite, not box, none of that. It's just the number sign. And again, they're very particular about that. But that's the way that I had always done it prior to people selling GMBs. And it still works, so that's another alternative way to do it. And in fact, I actually still prefer that method over buying them, except for the fact that you have to physically go to the post office. That sucks because, especially if it's far away. But if it's within reason and you can drive to it, then I recommend going that route over purchasing GMB listings from vendors. And the reason I say that is because it's still tied to a real physical address this way. And I feel like those are safer than using the spammed ones, because some of the spammed GMB listings that I have, they don't have any physical location even referenced or tied to them, which I don't even know how that happens. But like, there's no physical address actually connected with it, and it causes problems with the proximity filter. So, and what I'm saying is, even for service area business guys, you understand you have to clear the address. Like, you're not supposed to, per Google's terms of service, you're not supposed to publish the street address for a service area business, right? So in other words, if it's a service area business where the customer, or excuse me, the business serves the customer at the customer's location, then you're supposed to delete or clear the physical location. When you set your service areas, then you're supposed to clear the physical location from showing. And when it does, it literally clears it from the GMB dashboard, and it will no longer show the physical address, the street address, in the maps listing or anything. But what I'm saying is, some of the GMBs that I had purchased, they don't have any street address like associated with them at all. And I don't know how they even did it, but it causes issues to where it doesn't show for like near me searches and stuff like that, because there's no physical location associated with it. And again, I don't know how they do it, because even when you register a new GMB, let's say it's a legit business and you're a service area business and it has a legit physical location where the office or the, you know, the business owner lives or whatever. You have to add that address when you go to claim or create the GMB listing. You have to add the physical address and then wait for a postcard or a card to be delivered via US mail to that location that has a PIN number in it, so that you can verify that that physical location, that the business really resides at that physical location. So even when you clear the address to make sure that it's not published, there is still a physical location associated with that GMB. And you don't see that on the GMB dashboard. But for example, I just recently started using Local Viking to manage GMBs and posts and stuff, because it integrates with some of my CRM and stuff. So anyways, I'm using that. And when you import GMB listings into Local Viking, it shows the street address, even if it's an unpublished street address. And I've got a few listings in there that just no street address appears at all. There's no physical location associated with it. And those are the ones that I'm having trouble getting to appear for proximity searches, such as like near me keyword phrases or search queries. And so again, I would recommend it. The spammed listings, they can still work, but there's some drawbacks in them that I don't like about them, where the PO box way to get one with the actual physical address tends to work. It still works. And I like that one better, except for the fact that you have to physically go to the post office. Anybody want to comment on that?
Not me.
Okay, moving on then. But yeah, absolutely. That's a great way to do it for large, especially businesses with large service areas. If you can get multiple maps listings, that's best. Another way to do it, by the way, just quickly, is you can go to Craigslist and post an ad for that. I've done that. I've been successful in the past where I've posted an ad in the area that I want, and say, tell them that I'll pay them $50 to receive a Google postcard, and tell me when they've received it, and call me or text me with the PIN number inside the card. Most of the time, what happens is you'll find renters that do that instead of like people that own homes, because they don't care if somebody registers a business to a rental property. Like the renters don't care. The landlord might, but the renters don't. So I found that I've done that in the past several times when I was trying to get a GMB in an area that I just wasn't, it wasn't feasible to drive to and get a PO box. Then I would use Craigslist. So that's another way to do it. Okay. All right, moving on. Next question. Giving Wikipedia's negative view of SEO, is it possible to get links from Wikipedia or Wikidata to an SEO agency that also offers other services and has a blog with lots of non-marketing tech resources? Sure, but you can also purchase wiki links. Just like we were talking about spam GMB listings, you can buy. We sell them at MGYB.co, our store, and they work. I mean, occasionally something will get edited out, but I've actually had one recently that was edited out, and then I just submitted a support request and I got it restored on another Wikipedia page. So you can buy links. You say, is it possible? Yeah, because you can buy them. I don't know how to do the edits myself because I'm not a moderator for Wikipedia. But that's one way you could do it, is to hire a Wikipedia editor or moderator, I should say. Those are generally really, really expensive. So another way is just to find a service like what we have at MGYB, where you can buy them there. I don't know of any other way to get them. Do you, Marco?
Yeah, I mean, there's other ways, but you got to pay for them, or you got to get yourself a Wikipedia page, and you have to be eligible. You have to be able to provide all the documentation that Wikipedia requires. That's the best thing. The best thing is to get yourself a page on Wikipedia. And Dixon Jones is going to explain on Monday what that's the most important Wikipedia link that you could possibly get, right? That mention in Wikipedia. And then from that, I mean, the next best thing is getting a link on a top page, and then getting a link on a page referring to another page, as long as it's relevant, right? You got to maintain that relevance. But yeah, I mean, just go to mgyb.co, look for it. We offer it.
Sweet. Siraj is up. He says, what's a good way to get lots of footer links without having lots of clients? Trying to rank in a competitive area for web design and all other competitors dominate with footer links, some with exact text. So I'm assuming he means exact anchor text, exact match anchor text, excuse me.
I'm coming in here with the non-SEO advice. So this is a total joke, but from back in the day, I remember using that the safe.ru thing, and that's like all it was, right? Was hacked footers. That's the only stuff I ever saw.
Yeah, and that's funny you say that, because when I read this question earlier, and that's what I was going to suggest, was the only other way that I would know how to do it is the SAPE network. A lot of those links are hacked footer links, and that what I mean is, like, they literally hack other people's websites and put links in there for you. It's so black hat, but you know, it can work. I used to use a lot of SAPE links years ago when I was doing a lot more black hat stuff. And I guess there's really no hats, but when I was doing a lot of really spammy, like, you know, dark alley shit, I used a lot of SAPE links. I don't do that anymore, but that's one way to do it. I don't recommend it, but that is one way to do it. You got any suggestions, Marco?
For footer links? No. Why? All right. So here's the deal. And I'm going to say this again, and we explained it. I'm going to keep referring back to the webinars. On Monday, we explained why we do things the way that we do, why we create the entity the way that we do. I'm not going to go through it here, but we become master mimics. We look at the big dogs. We do what the big dogs do at the bot level, at the algorithmic level, at the patent level. That's how we do it. All right. If you want to learn how and why, make a donation.
There you go. Let's see. Are footer links the only way to compete, or is there something more powerful that I am missing? Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would go out use that strategy. I don't think. I know I wouldn't use that strategy. I would do other things. So
the SEO shield.
Yeah.
Start there and end there.
Fitz is up. What's up, Fitz? He says, hey guys, I hope everyone is well. How can you run ads for a client if you don't have access to their website? Thanks. You don't need access to somebody. You can run ads to any URL. The problem is conversion tracking and remarketing and all that other stuff, you know, but you can run ads to any URL that, you know, I mean, as far as I know, I don't think if you have a URL, you can run ads to it. The question is why? Like, if you don't have access to their website, then you're not going to be able to install like the conversion linker code, conversion tracking, you know, Google Tag Manager, remarketing, you know, the remarketing tag, all of those things that you would need. You don't need them, but I would hate to piss money away on Google ads or ads period if I couldn't track conversions and if I couldn't build a remarketing list from anybody that visited the page or the site. Yeah. So I don't know why you would want to do it without having access to the site. Go ahead.
Right. Yeah. I'm just wondering if maybe it's one of those where he's saying he doesn't have like edit access, but if somebody can, or if you can talk to the client, be like, hey, you just need to take these 2 steps. You need to copy this code. You need to install it, tell them where to do it. Because yeah, if you're in that situation where for whatever reason you don't have access, you need to maybe impress upon them the importance of, hey, you need to get this code on there. Otherwise you're going to be losing money, you know, because you can't retarget. You're not building a retargeting list. You won't know about conversions.
Yeah. If you have, you know, if there's a webmaster or somebody that is maintaining the site that you just don't have access yourself, then you can absolutely still do everything, because what I would suggest you do at that point would be to set up Tag Manager and then just contact whoever's managing the site. So the webmaster or the business owner, whoever's managing the site, contact them and send them the container code for Tag Manager. One goes in the header and one goes in the footer or right before the closing body tag, either one. And it's just 2 snippets of code that get added to the site globally, right? So it's site-wide code. And then you can add and subtract all the tags that you need inside of Tag Manager, which you would have access to, meaning you can add tags and triggers and all that stuff and then deploy it all through Tag Manager, and will automatically update the website from a remote from Tag Manager, from the Tag Manager dashboard. Once the container code is there, you can add or remove tags, remarketing tags, conversion tracking, all of that stuff. JSON, you can add structured data, schema.org, like all kinds of stuff that you can use Tag Manager for. If you don't have access to managing the site, the webmaster can install Tag Manager and you can use that. Any other comments?
No, that was fine.
Okay. So the next one is from LAN-RI. Now I get it. I couldn't figure out how to pronounce your name, so I appreciate you spelling it out phonetically, because hooked on phonics works for me. so thank you for that. So LAN-RI says, hey, Bradley, I noticed you had problems pronouncing my name. It's pronounced LAN-RI, as in Rio. So I've got it this time now. My question is this. I bought my keyword research from you guys. I built my site. I added 3 categories with content and 5 supporting articles per category. I now need to order my SEO location shield to establish my brand. Okay. Not sure that you want to order a location shield. Maybe you do. I don't have the full context of your project, but let's just assume that the SEO location shield is what you want to order. Does it make any difference if I already added the supporting documents prior to getting the SEO location shield? I don't quite understand the question. Does it matter that you've started to build out your site with categories and adding depth to the silos? No, it doesn't matter at all. Because, and again, I don't know that the location, I don't have the full context. I don't know what you're doing, but just from this little bit of detail that I have, I don't know that the location shield is really what you want. An SEO power shield should be for the brand. And then typically for top level silos, you want to do the expansion stack, right? The RYS drive expansion or drive stack expansion, excuse me. Not necessarily location shield. So if you go take a look at the SEO shield and you take a look at the 3 different versions, what is it? Starter shield, location shield, power shield, right? Power shield is going to be for the brand. That's what we recommend. But then RYS expansions, which is a separate product in the store, it's not on the SEO shield page. It's the RYS drive stack expansion. Go in there. That's what I would recommend, that you buy an expansion for each top level silo. Does that make sense? Does anybody want to comment on this, Marco? Do you?
Yeah, I mean, don't look at it like that, LAN-RI. Don't look at it like that. You're done with the website. You can continue working with the website.
Yeah.
You can have dummy content on the website. You shouldn't, but you at least need that RSS feed. So yeah, you do need some supporting articles or posts. You have that already. Go and order an SEO shield, not a location shield, because you don't want to pigeonhole yourself into a geographic location. All right. Not if you're branding. Not if you're branding. You can take care of the locations through location-driven pages on the inner part of the G site. In the beginning, you're just trying to create. I'm not going to say keyword. Yeah, but it is. It's brand plus keyword relationships. How your brand relates to the keywords in whatever niche it is that you're in, especially the top level keywords. We add it, we intersperse it, we go through all of the documents, everything gets filled with keywords, especially if you order our deep keyword research gig, which this is perfect for. It's perfect for giving you all of the relevance necessary to really carry out the proper content structure of your website. We give you suggestions. You know your project better than we could ever hope to know it. And so you have to follow what you know with what our suggestions are. Once you have all that, and once you get the SEO shield delivered back, especially the G site, because the following that is the ad ID, and ordering an expansion won't interfere with the ad ID. So what you see is, okay, now I have a top level category. So I'm going after gold. Now I want to do gold bars. Well, gold bars goes on the inside. So, or let's say you're saying you're in a city already and you want the adjoining city. So gold bars adjoining city. However it is that you choose to pursue that, well, we build that for you. We can build you an inner page so that you don't have to, and an inner stack so you're expanding the power of your original branded stack and G site. And the whole point of this is to keep expanding. So you're adding depth and breadth to that G site and drive stack the same way that you're doing it on your website as you find categories and as you use supporting posts to boost that top level category that you're trying to rank. Eventually, you should be pushing so much power, and I see this time and again, that even an empty folder being added, this is when true power, when you're pushing true power and you're building up that page rank and ranking score, an empty folder will rank for the keyword that you're assigning it. And it's incredible when this thing happens. Or you'll pop in like a new location and a brand new GMB, and you see all kinds of action in the GMB, and you're wondering why. Well, it's because you iframed it on that G site, or you iframed it on your website, or it's part of a really deep and wide drive stack and G site, and that's when the power really comes into play. That's why I tell people it's hard work. You cannot expect to rank with one page for gold. It's not going to happen. You can't ever hope to outrank Amazon with one page and a couple of supporting posts. It's not going to happen. That's a $1 trillion company that you're going after. You can't do it for $1.50. All right. So all of this power and all of these things need to continue taking place. You need to do your press releases. You need to do the link building. You need to do the embeds plus link building. And you need to continue broadening your profile throughout the web, making that footprint bigger, wider, relating more profiles one to the other, because it's what the big boys do. You see Apple everywhere. You see Amazon everywhere. So that's what you have to do. And one of the ways that we do it is exactly the way I just described. Now that takes a lot of work. The way that I like to put this is it like people see it and it's really simple. I ordered the SEO shield and then I just produce content and magic happens. No, it doesn't. This has been, well, I've been online 18 years. This is 18 years in the making. Bradley has about a decade in. I know Hernan is around there. Chris has so many years in. Adam, I think, well, I know I've known him for 6-7 years. So he has at least that long online. So you're getting decades worth of thinking, of strategizing, of putting everything together into what you see as the SEO shield. But that's what it's for. And that's what you should order. Not the location shield, but the branded, right? The SEO power shield.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I just pulled up the pages on the store just to demonstrate what Marco was talking about. The SEO Power Shield is what we recommend for the brand, for the main brand, right? And then from that, because it gives you the syndication network, the drive stack with the G site, and then the ID page. So that's for the main entity, right? The brand itself. And then from there, if you from the store, go click into the Google RYS expansion stacks. And these are the expansion stacks. So each top level silo, right? So each silo on the site, so top level category, top level keyword, you should have an RYS expansion stack. If you're doing a local business and you have location based silos, however you do that, I do it using the tag structure inside of WordPress. Then I also order a separate expansion stack for each location, if that makes sense. But I don't want to confuse you. Like I said, if you're doing it on just topical stuff, then you'd want a separate expansion stack for each one of your top level silos. You don't need additional ID pages and then additional G sites, which is what happens when you order location shield. So in fact, we would recommend against that. Okay. So hopefully that clarifies that. All right, moving on. Does it make a difference if I already had? No, it doesn't. You can, just as long as you have all that you need is you need the web, the URLs when that you're going to push, uses your main target URL for your drive stack. And then for each one of your expansion stacks, you're going to have a field that you have to submit your main target URL. It's going to be one primary target URL per expansion. As long as those URLs are available, like on your site, that's fine. It doesn't matter whether there's content there or anything to begin with. You can order it with just the URL. The only thing that has to have content is the RSS feed for the SEO Power Shield order, because the syndication network, if it's an RSS-driven syndication network as opposed to YouTube, then it needs the RSS feed has to have, so the RSS feed URL has to contain at least one item. It can be the hello world post for that matter. It doesn't matter. As long as it has one item in the RSS feed, then they can set up the applets inside IFTTT. But that's it. The rest of the site doesn't need a lick of content on it. If it just have the URLs available, and that's it.
And for anybody watching this at this point, watching the replay, enlarge the video so you can get the information about donating to the charity and accessing the webinars.
Okay, sweet. Let's keep moving. Jim's up. What's up, Jim? He says, hey, gang, I was curious if you guys had any tips or tricks to apply to Linktree. That's a good site. I just started playing with that a little bit more, actually.
Yes.
Other than the usual hammer the shit out of it with backlinks. You can embed it. So yeah, it's pretty much the same thing that we would always recommend. Hammer it with backlinks. You can also embed Linktree itself, the Linktree page, which is just a collection of links, right? So that's just, you can also do embeds and backlinks to the embeds. Anything else?
Scorched earth SEO. Hammer it. I don't know any other strategy. I don't understand anything else other than if it can stand it, give it more. And if it takes that much, then try some more. They're all, well, you know what it is, man. Just go do the do.
All right, BB, what's up, man? He says, hey, guys, a better example for last weekend's question, how Google treat pages that are not related topically to the site. Say you are a site about marketing. The silo is about software. Let's say all the marketing software goes here, but what if we add non-marketing software pages to the silo, to that silo, like employment software or betting software, etc.? Should a new silo be opened to non-related marketing software? No, in a case like that, BB, I would have subcategories. So I would use a complex silo structure for that type of a site, because software would be the parent category, the top level category. But then you would create subcategories for the different types of software. Marketing software being a subcategory. What was some of the other ones? Employment software being another subcategory, and then betting software or investing software, right? Forex software. Like there's a, productivity software. Like every one of those could be subcategories, and then you would add supporting articles, which could be reviews of those types of different softwares in their appropriate subcategory. So in a situation like what you're describing this time, which you provided more context this time than you usually do. So thank you for that, by the way. Then yeah, I would use a complex silo structure for something like that. And I would add subcategories and then appropriately place the articles and supporting articles and such within the correct subcategories. That is something that you could do. Comments?
Yeah, treat it as a directory for marketing. And how would you build that directory then for marketing related categories and subcategories, and maybe some not so specific categories that do relate to marketing, but not in a direct manner? You could totally do that. Just be careful how far in the weeds you go, because you could end up somewhere totally not relevant to whatever it is that you're doing. And then in that case, it's not as if you'd be penalized or anything. It's just that you're not going to get any, well, you shouldn't get any action, because the AI will know that there's absolutely no relationship between that uncategorized or irrelevant category and everything else that you're doing. With the caveat that if you're pushing enough power, it will rank. It just takes monster power to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, that's, I prefer using simple silos as much as possible, but in the situation that you're describing here, that's perfect for a complex silo. And you can push a shit ton of power with the complex silo, guys. If you know how to set up your internal linking correctly, complex silos can push a ton of power to the top level keyword. So again, you got to map that out before ever starting a complex silo site. Spend some time mapping it out, like not just the immediate need, but your future needs as well, because that's part of the problem with the complex silo structure. Is it's real easy to get started and think that you have an idea of what you want your silo structure to look like when you're starting off and you have, a finite or a limited amount of content and ideas. But as the project grows, you're probably going to figure like, oh shit, I should have figured it. I should have structured the site in this way instead. And that's part of the problem with complex silo structures is they're complex, just like the name, just like that's why it's in the name, excuse me. But if you do it correctly, if you map it out right, then you can, I mean, it's just amazing how much power you can push with those. But again, it's like, I remember that's part of the reason I don't like to do those anymore at all is because I would spend literally hours upon hours, a day or two on just mapping out the site before starting the build. And even then, even after doing all of that mapping work and trying to decide on how I was going to structure the site, a lot of the times at some point in the future, I would end up kicking myself for structuring it that way because I should have done something else. You know what I mean? So I prefer not to do that if needed. But if so, I mean, if that's the route that you're going to go, spend some time on the front end. You'll be glad that you did, and you can push a lot of power that way for sure.
Well, if you're building a directory, there's complexity in building a directory to start with. So try to keep it simple and don't spend hours trying to map out the site. Just get to working on it and try to work it out conceptually as you go. You're still going to run into problems and having to 301 and having to redo your URL structure, but that's a lot better, man.
So the next question is, does your methods work only on Google search engines and YouTube, or should it also work on search engines like Facebook or Pinterest search, etc.? I mean, we optimize for Google because, you know, that's what 70 or 80% of all search traffic. I can't speak for Facebook or Pinterest. Those algorithms are totally different, but oftentimes when we optimize for Google, then we end up ranking in Bing and Yahoo because Bing and Yahoo are one and the same anymore. But it's only, I think, they've got a little bit more market share than they used to, but it's somewhere around 30%, I think. But I don't optimize for Bing I mean, I just optimize for Google because that's, you know, that's where the bulk of all traffic comes from. And usually we end up ranking in Yahoo and Bing also. Comments on that?
Yeah, I mean, we want Google search. That's what we're after. Some places, in some countries, in some areas, over 90% of the search market is in Google. So if you have something that's search-based, which is totally local business or whatever, then it just stands to reason that you're going to focus in Google. Now, if you're going to go and work the Pinterest algorithm, then you have to learn the Pinterest algorithm. And some of the methods that we teach might not work in Pinterest. Well, I'm not going to get into how Pinterest works here. It works differently. Same thing with Facebook. The Facebook algorithm works differently. It just does. They're similar, so is the Bing algorithm. They're all based off of the same thing, right? Trying to see how they rank for a certain query. At the end of the day, that's what you're trying to do, but you have to learn the requirements. So you mentioned Pinterest and Facebook. You'd have to try those. People want Amazon, but we have to go in and figure that one out. And Bing, Yahoo, why when we can get 80 to 90% in Google, and in the other ones we can just run ads and get results.
Yep, I agree. All right, next question. Have you ever ranked something with citations only and without links? Let's say you have a non-local site, say e-commerce. Does brand citations without backlinks, will that work? First of all, I don't know because all I do is local stuff. I've ranked local stuff with just citations like local business directory or business directory citations, like structured citations. Sometimes they'll contain links. Oftentimes they'll contain links. It's been a long time since I've tried to rank any local business project with just citations. It's probably possible still. But citations are just a part of an overall picture. Now that's talking about like structured citations, like business directory listings for local type business sites. I think what you're talking about is like co-citation, right? Where somebody's talking, or a citation, I guess in a broader sense, can be just a brand mention, right? I've never tried that. I don't know why you would. I mean, I've never tried it, so I can't answer that. Can you?
No, because the citation is a backlink. So I don't get it. I don't get the question to start with. and let's say you have a non-local site that's e-commerce. Do brand citations without backlinks work, or will they work? I have no clue, because that's not how we do it. We actually use citations as part of the entity. It's all part of entity-based worryless SEO, especially local. Like the broader you go, the less necessary that they, but branded citations, if you can get them in the big ones, in the data aggregators, as a matter of fact, work really well, because they're links, they're places where Google goes to see the data, to pull data. But all right. So this question, I'm not going to pick on you. I'm just saying, is missing the point of the ranking score and PageRank algorithm, and of every other algorithm, because Google has to go through a link somewhere to get to the server, wherever this branded or non-branded, or this citation, or wherever this other thing is. Without that link, there's absolutely no way that Google can go from one server to the other. It's not magic. Google cannot teleport. It can't jump into another server, right? It's HTTP or HTTPS. That's the protocol. And so there has to be something that connects them, Now, what you're talking about, and job, again, I'm going to go back to our webinar on Monday. It was killer. You have two nodes, is what you're talking about. One is your branded whatever, and you have another node somewhere that mentions your brand. Google has to get to that, each of those, and relate them some way. And the way it does that is through links. And so the more links that are connected to your e-commerce site and to wherever that brand citation is, right, the more power it will have, because then Google can start creating the relationship for the distance graph algorithm, which, again, I'm not going to get into any of that. What I'm just saying is you need to start conceiving in this another way, because the things that you're asking are a little bit conceptually off, unless I'm reading this incorrectly, in which case I'd like you to explain what it is that you mean. You did a really good job on the other one of explaining what it was that you meant.
Yeah, I agree. So I said there was more context in that last question than what we're used to from BB. So, okay. So next question is from, or it's not really a question, as Jim says. He says, but rather a wiki experience. I have a site that has 6 wiki links pointing to it from different articles. I didn't pay for them. They were added in a natural manner. So organic links. That's awesome. Those links are
that's quotes. So I'd like to know what that. I'd like to know what that natural means, since it's in quotes.
Well, that's true. That's true. But I think he means that it's just he's got good content, and so somebody linked to it naturally from a Wikipedia article. That's how I interpret it. But you're right. Since it's in quotes, it might be. Anyways, those links are very powerful, and I highly recommend trying to get one through whatever means necessary. Pro tip: have the best, most thorough, most documented article on a subject, and then cross your fingers. That's a great point, Jim, because here's the thing. You can purchase wiki links, right? Like we just talked about that from, or links from Wikipedia, or links. You can get a link on Wikipedia by buying it from our service, but don't just link to like something that, if you're, I recommend that you are linking to something that has some well-written content, not just like, a spammy page or something like that on the site. You can try to get away with that, but the problem with that is it's likely going to get moderated out at some time. Like even if your link gets placed, at some point, somebody's probably going to discover that it's linking to something. If it's not linking to something that is resourceful, right? That is a resource that is relevant to the page that Wikipedia is linking from, then it's going to end up being moderated out at some point. It's almost guaranteed. It's just a matter of time. So I recommend that if you are going to buy Wikipedia links, that you do link to a piece of content on the site that you're linking to that is relevant and has some useful information on there, right? So that it's less likely to get moderated out at some later date by some other Wikipedia moderator. Okay. Comments? Good.
No, fantastic. If you can get them, and I saw that later on, he said organic. That's fantastic. If you can get organic links, if you can become the source or a source for that Wikipedia page, That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Right? Because now you have a relationship to that seed site. I'm going to talk seed sites and seed sets. Sorry, I don't want to confuse all you people, all you guys, but that's what happens. You're related to trusted and authoritative sources. Thereby, you become a trusted and authoritative source, which is why it's working so well.
Adam, you turned your camera on, so I'm assuming you got something to say.
No, well, I was about to say, I'm going to reach out to Jim. I want to ask him a question because he's had some interesting comments over the last couple of weeks. So talking about AI stuff, and then now with organic Wikipedia links. So Jim, I'm gonna track you down, or if you can find me, shoot me a message. But yeah, I just actually had a note on the kind of the last the last question of the day here.
Okay, cool. So Jade says Amazon AWS sent out an email warning about allowing public access to an S3 bucket. Yeah, I've gotten dozens of those emails.
Yeah.
The wording was such that it sounds like they're removing public access. And if you are in disagreement with it, I don't think that's the case. That's not the way I read it.
Yeah, and I just pulled it up to double check, just did a quick read through, and they don't say that. They just say that you have some buckets configured that way. That may not be what you intended. If so, we suggest you fix it and then, talk to us if you have a question, but it doesn't say that we're going to change it or anything like that.
Yeah. Thank you, Adam, because that's when I read his question, or when I read this question, I thought about that. I was like, I better go back and reread, because I've gotten dozens and dozens of those emails, and I've read through them a couple times, and the way that I interpreted it was what Adam just said, was like, it's telling you like, hey, you probably didn't mean for the bucket to have public access, but if you did, like, it's not recommended. But I didn't see anywhere where it said they were going to revert them to protected. That would cause a whole lot of problems.
Yeah, the only thing is one line. If you have a business need to maintain some level of public access, please see overview of managing access, and they give references for more in-depth instructions on managing, just to make sure you've done the correct level of access. So yeah. Yeah,
when I set up my buckets, I set them up to where objects can be public, but the folder itself, or the bucket itself, isn't entirely public. It just allows for individual items to be made public. That's the way that I set up all my buckets, so that I can pick and choose whether I want them to be public at the time that I upload the files. So hopefully that makes sense. We're about out of time. Jim says, sorry, natural, I meant organic. Yeah, we saw that. Thank you, Jim, by the way. Reach out to Adam. BB says, so this is I guess, clarification for his previous question. He says, you have an e-commerce site for dog food named SM Doggy. Will a mention citation of that? Will a mention or citation of that in other sites will promote the site without a backlink? Again, I don't know. For local businesses, having the name, address, and phone number published online, even without a backlink, counts as a citation, which is like a vote of confidence, right? It's just because what is it doing? It's just validating entity information. Does that make sense? That's why it's so important to have name, address, and phone number always published exactly the same, because even having punctuation different, or using the ampersand sign instead of AND or something like that, right? Or sometimes having INC or LLC at the end and other times not. If you have variations of name, address, and phone number published, even with no backlink, then that can start to ambiguate the data, right? And that's why for local businesses, a published mention of name, address, and phone number, even without a backlink, does count as a citation and can help to rank. Now, can you purely rank on that? I don't know. I've never tried it. But you're talking about that type of a citation for like a non-local site, like an e-commerce site. I have zero experience with any of that whatsoever. I can't imagine that it would, but I can't say whether it does or not, because I've never done anything like that. Comments?
It creates co-occurrence, right? And it's a co-citation or a citation if it's the full local citation, right? Name, address, phone number, the NAP. Other than that, I don't know. Depends on the competition. If there's no competition, I see where just mentions of your site on powerful sites would make a difference. But if like most places, the competition is fierce, then no, you're not going to get away with something like that.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of interesting too, backing this up a level away from purely the SEO benefit and saying, well, if your name, let's say the SM dog food brand, is mentioned on Huffington Post, like, yeah, you know what? I bet our website's going to see some increased traffic, and it's not a direct link, right? It's just by getting out there and building the brand, you know, that's kind of what's happening there, as how I see it without getting into the technical side.
Yeah, and you know, actually, just to follow up, Adam, that's a really good point. And I know this to be true because when I started my land flipping business, I experienced it firsthand. And that is, if you can get name published online, right? And somebody, but it's not a backlink, but somebody reads the name and they're curious, they'll go Google that. And then it pulls up the brand and then they click through. That's a navigational or brand search query that then a click through. So that's a huge SEO signal. When somebody reads a name, brand name somewhere, and then goes and Google searches it and then clicks through. That's a fantastic SEO signal. And I experienced that with Alpha Land Realty, my business, my real estate business, because when I first started, I was just running ads. I didn't do any SEO at all, nothing. I just have a single land, still to this day, just have a single landing page on ClickFunnels for, for that business basically. And I was running Google ads to that, but no SEO. And then I started sending direct mail out to property owners with my brand name, Alpha Land Realty, on it. And what happened was I started seeing Alpha Land Realty ranked #1 for even like my keywords like sell land fast, Virginia, and things like that. And I couldn't figure out why, because I hadn't done any SEO work whatsoever. And then I started digging into it, and I realized that people were doing navigational search queries because they would get letters from me, direct mail letters from me that would state, you know, hey, Alpha Land Realty wants to buy your property. If you're interested, go here, blah, blah, blah. And they would go to Google and search Alpha Land Realty and then click through. And because of that, I started to rank in a matter of like 3 weeks with zero SEO work. And it was because of those brand searches, which is why we talk about engagement signals are absolutely critical, are super powerful. You want to comment on that, guys, before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Okay. Thanks, everybody, for being here. We'll see you guys next week.
See you.